Well, welcome everybody. My name is Scott Tummons, and I'm sure all of you have experienced this frustration when you're watching a game and the referee will call something, you have no idea what's going on, he stops the action, and this really makes it unenjoyable to watch your kids play the sports when you don't know what's really going on out there as far as the rules and everything. I have coached soccer. Well, I've been involved with soccer for many years. I coach all 4 kids in my kids' Rex team, and I've also started the process, about halfway through the process of receiving my referee certification through United States Soccer Federation. So today what I want to talk to you about is what laws are in soccer, the simplicity of the laws, and also one of the most confusing and misinterpreted law in soccer. So what are the laws of soccer? Well, simply stated, the laws of soccer, the soccer world calls their rules of soccer, they call them laws. So when you talk about the laws of soccer, you're talking about the rules of the game. Now, in 1886, 5 different countries had sent 2 representatives each to Paris to, their prime objective was to form a standard set of rules for the game of soccer, and they came up with these laws. Now, within that creation, they also created the International Football Association Board, which governs soccer even to this day. In fact, within the 2016-17 International Football Association Board's Laws of the Game book, there's a history section in that book, and it discusses that, and it says, and I quote, that the IFAB's role was and remains to preserve, monitor, study, and where appropriate, improve the laws of the game. So what did the IFAB come up with? Well, they came up with 17 real simple rules to govern the whole game of soccer. And you might think, well, that's 17 rules. If you look in the NBA, in their rule book, they have only 12 rules in theirs. Seems less, but if you start going through their rule book, and it's actually the official rules of the National Basketball Association, they have 12 rules, but in each one of those sections, they'll have sections and subsections. And for instance, let's look at rule number 9, free throws. There's actually 4 sections and 15 subsections just on how to shoot a free throw in the game of basketball. And the NFL is even worse than that. In the 2017 official playing rules for the NFL League, we're discussing rule number 9 on forward passes, backward passes, and fumbles. There are 7 sections, 28 articles, and 80 approved rulings just for that game. So I would much rather take the 17 simple rules of soccer and try to remember those refereeing the game than the NBA or the NFL. So the other thing about these laws is the IFAB, when it was set up, like I say, it governs all of soccer, and that's across the world. Even according to Chad Smith from the Reporting KC, in his article, Rules Changes Coming to MLS, or Major League Soccer, they, in 2005, adopted the same rules, laws of the games that the IFAB set up and continue to monitor. So, and even if you go down to the lower levels, like in the kids' federations, the Kansas State Youth Association of Soccer, they have these IFAB rules. They actually state, instead of listing the 17 rules in their amended rule book each year, they state that they just adopt the IFAB's 17 rules of play. So as simplistic as they seem, we're going to discuss one rule that is very confusing and very misinterpreted, like I said earlier, and that is rule number 11, which deals with offsides. Now I'm going to read you the definition, but then we're going to illustrate it because it really takes the illustrations to understand rule number 11. Rule number 11 states simply that if any player's body, arms, legs, or head is in the opponent's half of the field, is beyond the ball and closer to the end line than the second defender on the field, that is offsides. Like I said, very confusing, so that's why we'll start by illustrating that, so try to clear that up. So first of all, I'll talk about the opponent's half of the field. This half of the field they're defending. Here's their goalie. And we're just going to use this scenario first with no other defenders. We're just going to talk about the ball. So if we had a draw an imaginary line of where the offsides would be, it said anything beyond the ball. So here's the ball right here. So you'll have an imaginary line drawn just like that to determine where that offside would be. So in this scenario, we have this individual, this player that's attacking the goal that is in the onside position, and this one over here on offsides. Now offsides doesn't automatically mean there's a foul. The only time the offsides becomes an offense is when the person in the offside position, like this player up here, would become involved in the game or the play of the game. So this person with the ball could not directly pass to them, or else it would be stopped and the foul would take place from there. Now this player that's onside, yes, they can pass to them and be fine, but like I say, the person in the offside position, as long as they're not in the play of the game, they're fine. But once they become part of the game, whether it's passing or blocking out an opponent, then that becomes the foul, and it would be called. Now the next diagram we're going to illustrate here, I put the defenders in there. It talked about first of all, it said if you're behind the ball, well, the person with the ball is the only one behind it right now. The red squares are the attacking team, the blue are the defending. Now, so we've already established that nobody's behind the ball, so in that sense, they're offsides. But it also said that they have to be behind the second defender. So our goal is generally going to be your number one defender. And then this guy coming from the end line, this one is your number two. So that imaginary offensive line runs right through that player right there. So again, as we can see here, this player is still onside, but this player is offsides. So just like before, as long as this player stays out of the play of the action going on, he can remain offside or she can remain offside. But once they pass to him, or this player comes in and tries to block out or anything like that during the play, that's when the foul will be called for offsides. So, well, now I've introduced to you what the laws of the soccer are and the simplicity of it, and we've discussed and illustrated the offsides ruling. So I hope that next time you go to a soccer game or watch if your kids play or your brother plays, that you're able to enjoy the game more because you'll understand what's going on. You're not going to sit there as clueless to what's going on the field. So as you do sit there and watch your next soccer game, and with your knowledge that you've gained on offsides, please remember that if you see the ref missing a call on offsides, just be nice, because they're human too.